What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel once again. So today I'm just going to show you how you can make some awesome concrete statues at home, just like this owl right here, using just your 3D printer and some concrete. So let's just go ahead, let's jump right into this and let's get started. Okay, so here I am over in Mesh Mixer, and as you can see, I imported my owl statue that I'll be using for this project. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to go into Edit, and I will make solid. And now I'll go under solid type, I'll set this to accurate, and under offset distance, I can bump this up, and I want this to be 4, and it doesn't let me go higher, but I'll just type it in. This way it'll be 4 millimeters thick. Now you could make this thicker or thinner depending on your needs. So I'll go ahead and I'll click update. And as you can see, now it's much thicker. I'll go ahead and I'll click accept. And if I go back to the original model and I'll unhide this, if I zoom in, you can see that now I have that thickness around it. So I'm going to click on the original model again. I'm going to go into select, and I want to select all of this, so I'll hit Control A on the keyboard, and that will select the entire model. And now I can go up into edit, and I'll go into flip normals. This way it will reverse it, basically making it hollow. Now that I've done that, I can go in, I can re-show this one. I'll double click on both of them, and I'll click combine. And now you can see that now it's just one, but it's hollow inside, and it's kind of hard to tell like that, but now I'll go into edit, and I'm going to go and do a plane cut. And I'm just going to angle this straight up and down, go to 90 degrees. And I'll rotate this a little. This is where you want your cut to be for the two halves. So something like that. Maybe I can move it over a little bit. And you can zoom in and you can kind of see how it's going to look. So just for demonstration purposes only, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like that. And under cut type, I want to keep both. So I'll slice keep both, and I'll click accept. And now I'm just going to go and separate shells, and that will give me the two halves of the model. And as you can see, if I hide one, or if I hide the other one, I have a perfect outline of the model. Now we're going to need a pour hole down at the bottom to where I can pour the concrete into. So I'm going to go into Mesh Mixer, and I'm just going to click on this and drag it in. And I want to just place this somewhere that's going to be pretty much in between both halves. So somewhere around there. I can scale it and make it bigger if I want to, but again, for demonstration purposes only, I'm just going to leave it like this. I'll just click accept, and I'm actually going to duplicate this object. So I'll click on duplicate, and then I'll hide this one for the time being. So now for this half, I can go ahead and click on the half of the owl along with the cylinder. I'll hold down shift and click it. And then I'm just going to go into, again, edit, Boolean, and we want to do difference. I'll click accept. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the other half. I'll hide that one. I'll re-show the cylinder, click on the owl, hold down shift, click on the cylinder, and click on Boolean difference. Click accept. And now if I show both of these, you can see that now I have a perfect hole to pour the concrete into. So technically you could be done there, but I'm just going to go one step farther and add in some registration marks just to make sure that it lines up a little bit better. So in order to add the registration marks, I'll just add in this dome right here that you can see. And if you don't know how to do that or create one, you can easily go into Mesh Mixer, create a circle, and create a square, and just do a Boolean difference once you put them two together, and you'll end up with this dome. But I'm going to go and transform, And I'm going to just move this into place right around the edges of where I think they should be. And push it back. Probably needs to be rotated a little bit more. You want to try and line these up the best that you can. Doesn't need to be perfect, but the better you make it, the better your results will be. Again, I'll just scale this one down a little bit and move it into place. So right there seems about good. I'll click accept, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate this dome. And I'll just hide the other one. And now I just want to scale this one up by going to transform, just to make it a little bit bigger. And we'll pull it out just a little bit. And that will go on the other half of the mold. And I'll click accept. And as you can see here, you can see the two halves kind of intersect, but there is a little bit of gap, which just makes it a little bit easier just to make sure that it doesn't stick out once you put them together. So now I'll hide the first one, bring that one back, and instead of a Boolean difference, we're going to join these two. So click on the model itself. I'll click on the dome by holding Shift click, and I'm going to do a Boolean union, and that will combine it onto it. I'll click accept, and we'll do the same thing for the other half. I'll re-show that one, and instead of join, we'll click on it, click on the cylinder, and we'll do a difference on this one. That way that will leave the hole. And we'll click accept. And now you can go ahead and do the same thing and place registration marks wherever you want around the model. I've already done all that, so I'll just kind of quickly show that. But now you can see that they'll line up perfectly on where you place them. So here you can see now that I placed registration marks all around the entire model, and I have both halves. And this is actually the one that I will be pouring into and printing. So once you have that finished, all you need to do is just click on each one, go into File, and export each model. And that's it. You're finished. So now you can bring this into your favorite slicer. I'm just using Elegoo Cura, and I'm going to want to just rotate this 180 degrees so it's flipped upside down. And this way all the supports are going to be on the outside. That way I'll capture all the detail that I want on the inside of the model. Just go ahead and switch this to TPU. Pick whatever brand you're using. I'm just going to discard. Set all your settings to what you want them to be, and go ahead and click print. So once your two halves are done printing, you can simply remove the supports if you choose to. Removing TPU supports can be a little tricky, so if you want to leave them on, you can. And now you just want to double check to make sure your two halves fit together. Now I'm just going to use a little mold release spray so the concrete doesn't adhere to the mold. So now I'm just going to use some rubber bands just to hold the two halves together. Now you can certainly use clamps or whatever you feel might be better, but for me the rubber bands work just fine. So now I'll be using the Cementol by Rapid set, and I'll just mix the proportions according to the manufacturer specs. So after pouring in the water, I'll use the empty container just to place the mold into to hold it upright while pouring. I'll slowly pour in the concrete while continuing mixing until it becomes about the consistency of pancake mix. All that's left to do now is carefully pour the concrete into the mold, trying not to spill anything. Now I'll just tap it on the side a little bit to try and remove any air bubbles that might be trapped inside. I'll now let this sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. So once your concrete has fully hardened, all that's left to do now is remove the rubber bands and the two halves of the mold. So now that you have your piece demolded, you can simply place the two halves back together, use the rubber bands, and you're ready to pour another one. To remove the little sprue on the bottom, I'll simply just take it to the belt sander. Alright, so there you have it, making a concrete owl at home using your 3D printer and some TPU filament, along with some concrete. Now if you do want to scale it up, you can go ahead and make bigger pieces, like this one I did right here of a little hockey gnome. But the process is exactly the same, just scaled up bigger. Well, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below, ring the bell, get notified of all the new videos that come out, and as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.